Hello, everyone. If you're here in the room, please say hi. Just let us know. Let us know that you can hear us. We're gonna wait for a couple of minutes. Just let some people join, and then we'll get started. I've got Lauren on the line with me.
Hey guys.
Hi, Lauren. And I see a few people in the room.
Andrew
Open
says
question. Andrew Ling. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for the message. Can you also type something in the chat and see if that shows up differently? Hey, Kevin. All right, so we're on. I'm just going to give a couple more minutes, and while we're waiting, I'll do a little. Oh, hi, Adam. Good to see you guys. So do a little housekeeping. So Lauren from our team is going to be handling any questions and comments throughout, if she can. If there's anything that she can't answer, we also are going to have a question period at the end. So we're happy to answer any questions, make any examples relevant to the people on the call. We're also going to have some resources available at the end. So we'll have a PDF guide, which is the Transformational Message Framework. So you guys are going to get access to that. And this talk will really go over all the steps to provide context to that framework. You'll also get a copy of the target persona that we use at Olometrics. So we're going to talk about this, but there's plenty of options available online. But we're going to share the actual resource that we use with our clients. And then we'll be doing some Q&A. So if you, as we're going, if you just want to throw in what company you work for, or what industry you work for, I am going to share some examples. But that might just help provide some context to some of the examples as we go through this, and then we can make it relevant to your own business. So with that being said, I think we're ready to get going. I'm just going to turn off our picture-in-picture. So I'll say bye for now, but we'll be on later, and that's just so you can see what's on the slides. So so let's get started. So who is this for? This framework is going to be very valuable if you are a business owner. Waterbury Cloud. Okay, thanks, Adam. Cloud consulting. Okay, so we'll touch on something for cloud consulting later. So this is going to be very valuable if you are a business owner and you are in charge of your message as a brand. Emily, thank you as well. Commercial real estate. Okay, perfect. So if you are in charge of a messaging for your brand, you might have a marketer on your team. But if that marketer changes over time and you really need to communicate that message to that next person in line, or all of the other people in your organization, this will give you a blueprint for doing that. If you're a client-side marketer working for a brand, and you are going to be really in charge of the messaging for that brand and the message that's permeating throughout all of the different tactics and strategies that you guys are putting in place. So this will give you that framework. And finally, if you are a marketing freelancer and you're helping clients, you'll have the ability to help them really define and communicate that message so that all of their other advertising, all of their other content strategy, et cetera, is more effective. And that's really what this framework is about. It's why we were really passionate putting it together. We wanted to help people really define what that is for their company so that they can share it with the world, they can share it in a consistent way. And right now we are experiencing one of the most turbulent times in economic history. And there's going to be certain leaders out there that are communicating the message, they're making the decisions early, and others are looking to them for guidance, right? And without really identifying what that message is and what the transformation that's taking place in your customer's life, you can't pivot, you can't make those decisions because you need to wait for the competitors to make them for you so that you can follow. And it doesn't allow you to be a leader in the industry when times are good and when times are bad. So another thing, I just wanted to thank all of you for being on the call today, because I know that there's a lot of things happening, a lot of urgent things that are happening in your business right now. And this is one of those pieces, messaging is one of those pieces that might not be urgent, but it's very, very important. It's I like to think of it as the lead domino that is going to make all of the other activities that you need to do more effective. And that kind of lines up with this slide right here. So what am I referring to when I'm talking about your message? So I'm talking about the kind of DNA of how you communicate your value to the world. And that permeates throughout your podcasts, if you have one, your social media, any radio ads, print ads, webinar courses, you name it. Every single tactic that you put out there is going to have a DNA of a certain message that you want your customers to know, to something that represents your business, and it should be consistent. It should be something that that the customer can find that same experience in all of these different platforms. They just experience it in different ways. So the story is just told from a different angle. However, oh, hi, Mike. Glad you could join us. Yeah, thank you for hopping on the call. And I will touch on a business coach example then as well, because I think that'd be very interesting. So without a clear, well-defined message, you will confuse your customers. You'll create content that is solving the wrong problem. I see this all the time. And you waste lots of time and money. If you think about it, I just kind of alluded to the fact that this message and getting your message clear is that lead domino that makes everything else easier and more effective. So if you think about Facebook ads, Google ads, those are variable costs. Every single time someone clicks on something and they come to your website, if they don't check out, you're paying money to have that person come and leave. So when you put in the work, you put in the strategy work to define your message very clearly and the transformation you're making for a customer, you make money all the way downstream. So this is one of those upstream tasks that makes a really big difference for years to come. It also allows you to avoid what I call marketing copycat syndrome. And this is very, very common. I can see why people copy other brands. They see, okay, this is working well for them. Let's just do it. It's already established. It's already working. However, this never lets you become unique, and it never lets you lead and kind of capture that blue ocean, that open territory where your competitors aren't already playing. So you can see, I don't know what the first SaaS company was to do it in illustrated people like this, but then all of the competitors see it working and they all copy. But there's first movers advantage. So when you do this in your business and you create something that's unique, you gain first movers advantage by moving into that space before any of your competitors. And that's what this framework will allow you to do. Lastly, it also allows you to avoid random acts of marketing. So you're probably all familiar with this. There's a sale that needs to happen, or something that we need to drive sales this month. Let's just do a sale. Let's do a promotion. And none of your marketing efforts are really kind of coordinated throughout this single focus, this North Star. And that's what the message framework will allow you to do, because then you can all of a sudden strategically take that and start to apply it throughout all your objectives, your strategies, and your tactics. So a little bit about me. I'm the co-founder of a digital marketing agency called Olometrics, and we specialize in Google ads, Facebook ads, search engine optimization. But what makes us really different is we place a really large emphasis on this kind of strategy work with our clients, and then also building custom dashboards and analytics so that they can see the effectiveness of all of their campaigns. I'm also the digital marketing educator at a company called BrainStation, which is a tech ed institute in Vancouver and all around North America. And I teach workshops at Small Business BC. In fact, I'm teaching one next Wednesday, April 1st, on Google Analytics. So if you're interested, please reach out to me after this, and I'll definitely share a link to that with you. I'm also previously the marketing director at a company called Kintech Footwear and Orthotics. And that's going to lead us into our first example. I'm just going to have a drink of water here, one sec. So this is something that I heard on a consistent basis when I worked at Kintech back in the day, and I was in charge of creating all of our ads. Warren, we need an ad. We've got a deadline coming up on this newspaper or this radio spot, and we need an ad. And this process was definitely random acts of marketing, but our process that I went through was to typically look at our competitors or what other people were doing. Then we would talk about ourselves, and we would talk about our product. Well, we're selling shoes, we're selling orthotics. This is what you need. Do you have sore feet? And then we would get average results, and we would do it all over again. So I knew that something needed to change. Went down a long journey of learning about messaging and trying to put this framework together so that other people in the organization, other people in my marketing team could also use this without me being in the room. But once we had established that framework and we really built this out to share it with the team, then we'd be able to review the messaging framework that we built just to kind of prime ourselves. What did we talk? Who are we talking to? What are we saying again? Then we would talk about the customer and the transformation that was taking place. And I'm going to touch on transformation more in the upcoming slides. But then we would get much, much better results. And others would copy us. So I talked about marketing copycat syndrome. All of a sudden, our biggest national competitor copied pretty much verbatim our campaign. And so there's definitely some bragging rights there when you see those things start to happen, even though it might feel kind of annoying at the time, because, hey, we established it first. We put the work into doing this first. We captured first mover advantage, and now they're just jumping on our bandwagon versus the other way around. So without further ado, this is the framework. I'm going to go through the six steps here first, and then we're going to go back through them with all of the exercises and examples to help them stick. But I do firmly believe that if you implement this and you do the work here that's in this framework, you are going to completely change the way that you market to your customers. You're going to stop talking about yourself. You're going to stop talking about your services, your products. And you're going to start talking about your customer and the transformation you're making for them, what their aspirational identity is, and how you're going to help them get there. It's also going to let you pivot and create new offers that still align with that transformation, because now you're looking at the person and the journey that they're taking, and you're thinking about how can we also get them there in different ways, versus, well, this is just what we sell. This is just our service. So right now there's a big shakeup in so many industries, and they're having to rethink how they offer their services and products to people, and so doing this work makes it so you don't have to wait for an absolute catastrophe to happen in order to put these things in place, because you already have that clearly defined message and transformation, and you just know that you can put these in place and it's going to work to get the customer there. So first, to just highlight where this happens, there's an excellent framework. I encourage you guys to Google. It's called the POST framework, and it's actually in the blog that I wrote that talks about this article. But when you're putting together a marketing strategy, this is a great place to start. You start with people. Who are we talking to? What is the need? What is their worldview? What is the transformation we're making? Then you move on to objectives. Why? Why are we doing this? What are our goals or milestones? How are we going to measure success? Finally, what are we going to do? What's our plan? What's our position? What direction are we going? How can we make multiple pieces kind of work together so they support each other? And then tactics. What are the very specifics of the tools, steps, and processes that we need to use to make this all happen? So when I talk about random acts of marketing, someone's usually typically working backwards. They're starting with how, they're kind of skipping the other ones. But most people, when they're putting together a strategy, they start with goals. They start with milestones and measuring success. But the only thing is, when you do that, you're thinking all about yourself. You're looking internally and inward and thinking about who you are and what you want, without thinking about who your customer is and what they want. So that's why this is such a critical first step. And this entire transformation, the entire 6 steps that we're talking about, take place in this first category of who. So the first step is to define who we are talking to. And I'm just going to have another drink of water here for a sec. And okay. And so in order to find out who we are talking to, the best way to do that is to build what's called a target persona. I'm sure that everyone on the call has heard of a target persona before. But it's basically representation of your ideal customer. And it's very, very well defined. And there's hundreds of different examples out there. I'm going to touch on some of the questions that I think should definitely be in a target persona, and show an example of that in the later slides. But really, you want to identify, you want to get very, very specific. And I'm going to tell you why a little bit later. So you don't want to just kind of pull a name out of a hat and put an age range of a 20-year gap. Like this is an exact person with an exact age, and they have a very specific demographic and kind of psychographic makeup. Next, you want to align with your customer's worldview, and this is kind of a tricky one. Mike, yeah, no worries, Mike. Thank you for joining, and you'll have a copy of the recording after. So yeah, we'll continue. Thanks for the comment. So next, you want to align with your customer's worldview. So I'm gonna, just to help define a couple pieces here, your identity is the culmination of everything that makes you, you. How you were raised, the society you were born into, your race, gender, strengths, weaknesses, etc. It's how you see yourself within the world. And your worldview, however, is a set of lenses that you see the world through. So it's a set of beliefs that help you make sense of the world and your experiences. So what you believe, and the beliefs are really core to your identity. So these really help to, they really kind of feed off each other and rely on each other. So the identity of a person that says, I'm vegan, right? They might have a very strong belief that they like ice cream. And therefore, if a business can find an overlapping worldview of I like vegan ice cream, and create the ideal solution for that person, then they can really resonate with them, right? Then they can really be the ideal solution for that person, because they are all about vegan ice cream. And we're going to get into a little bit more detail with this one because it's a little hard to unpack sometimes. But Seth Godin talks about this a lot in his book, All Marketers Are Liars, and I highly recommend it for the people on the call. The main piece is that you don't want to try to attempt to change your customer's worldview. So you don't want to try to shift their entire set of beliefs. And lots of times marketers and companies try to do this. They say, you believe this, but really you need to believe this. And you just don't have the real estate and the budget to try to do that with someone in a Facebook ad or Google ad or newspaper or TV spot. You don't. So it's much better to frame your offering as the ideal solution within that person's worldview. And we can talk a little bit about perspective here. Sometimes you can attempt to kind of help them see it in a new way, like a different perspective, but you don't want to try to change their core set of beliefs that make them who they are. And like I would leave that up to a documentary filmmaker or someone that has more time with someone to really try to shape who they are. It's not the best place to do it in a marketing or advertising environment. So next, you want to map out their transformation, and this is I find this to be a really fun exercise. You guys will see once we get into the exercise section. But you want to paint a detailed picture of what their life is like before they choose you, and that's their present situation, and after they use your product or service. That's their desired future. So when we buy things as customers, even like every single decision that we make, we are perpetually in a state of trying to realize a desired future. If we're hungry and going to a restaurant, we're realizing a desired future where we are now full and happy and enjoying that. And I'm sure everyone on this call would probably really like to go to their favorite restaurant right now. But in terms of our service and the value that we provide our customer, we want to clearly identify these two situations, the present situation and the desired future. And once we clearly identify them, we can see a gap, a well-defined gap in between. And what we want to do is make our company, our service, our product, the vehicle to take them from their present situation to their desired future. And if you don't define those two pieces, then it kind of just gets all muddled. So they need to be very well defined and separated out. And we'll talk about that in the exercise, how to do that a little bit later. So once we have defined those two pieces, we want to agitate them just a little bit. And this isn't meant to be evil or manipulative, but if someone is completely happy with their current situation, they are not going to feel motivated to move towards a desired future, right? So this is the playground for your ad copy and content, but it needs to be done in a tasteful way. So I see some certain brands that they might say, are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling down? And it's just like, it's too much. It's too much in your face. This technically should be the salt in the recipe of your ad content, where it's, if it's not there, the recipe just doesn't kind of feel, it doesn't quite taste like right. But if there's too much, it ruins the whole recipe. So think about it that way. You want to agitate just enough so that you get them to act. And right now, the reason why we're seeing buying behavior change so drastically is because everyone's present situation is currently agitated, in an extreme case. So it's causing people to make what seems like completely irrational behavior, but it's because their whole life is being turned upside down. And I'm sure everyone on the call can kind of empathize with this. So now we're in a place where we're seeking desired futures of safety and comfort and control. And that's why we are making these purchase decisions, so that we can kind of command and take control of our present situation again. So next, we want to gain their commitment, and you want to help your target customer stay on course. This is especially important with larger purchase decisions and recurring commitments. So if you're in a B2B space, if you're selling like a monthly membership, or let's say something like fitness, where you require someone to really change their behavior and like change their whole routine. This is really important because you want to help them stay on course. And if it's a really big purchase, like let's say you're selling something that is worth $100,000, like it's a big retainer fee or something, then you really need to up the emotional investment here and make sure that they feel like that this is the right decision, or else someone's going to have analysis paralysis. They're not going to make the step. They're going to push this to a future date, and so a lot of times people need that emotional investment so that they can make a decision. We are not completely rational beings. We need to have some emotion so that we can make a decision, so that we can prioritize things. And there's a few tactics that I'm going to share here for a couple different options on how to gain their commitment and keep them on course. And step 6, give them a reason to share. So we are social creatures. When our customers tell others, we say big. So if you think about it, if every single one of your customers just told one other person about your business and they became a customer, you would cut your marketing costs in half. And the other way to think about it is you'd be able to amplify your marketing efforts by double. So yeah, and that's just if they tell one person. Of course, not every single person is going to, but certain customers might tell 5 people. Right? So if it averages out that they tell one, you're cutting your costs in half. And most people would gladly share your value with others. They just forget to. They get busy, and if you don't ask, it just doesn't happen. So this is just a reminder of something that can be very powerful if applied in your business. So we're going to get into the exercises now. I'm just going to have one more sip of water. If you guys are liking this so far, definitely leave a comment in the chat. I'd be glad to hear from you. And again, if you have any questions throughout, please just feel free to ask them below, and we'll try to get to those. So step 1, build your target personas. So I just wanted to point everyone here. Big thumbs up. Thanks, Adam. I just want to point everyone here to build for building your target personas, what to do. So there are plenty of templates online, and stay tuned for the one that we have. I figured I'd share it just because it's a culmination of a lot of different important angles to think about, and we put that all in one place. Thanks for the thumbs up, Kevin. So, but I encourage you, go online, go on Google Images, look up customer persona templates, customer avatar templates, target persona templates, and see what's out there. Scan through a bunch of them, put them into a little bit of like a folder, and look at the ones that you like, and try to identify why you like them. And because there's going to be certain ones that fit your business better than others. It is what it is. But the questions that I want to make sure, regardless of the template that you use, is that you ask these questions, because these ones are so critical, and they're not on every template out there. So what are they afraid of? And by the way, the reason why these are so important is because these are really core to what makes these people human, and that's what resonates with them in an ad. So what are they afraid of? What do they secretly desire? What are their expectations when they do business with you or businesses like you? What are they frustrated about right now? And what keeps them up at night? Like, what keeps them up at night with worry? Um, Obviously, there's a lot of people losing sleep right now. But you can think about this either in the context of right now, if you have something that is going to help people with satisfy that worry, or just in a general context of how you of when you interact with your customers. And I think the most important one is, what type of person do they wish to become? And the reason why, this is the aspirational identity. And we talked about the identity and worldview in one of the previous slides. But when we can identify what that aspirational identity is for that person, then that is the desired future, really. So that is, we're starting to paint that picture. We're starting to fill in what that desired future is. So I'm going to go through an example here. Online medical booking software. What an industry to be in right now. So what might, and I'm going to say that the customer here would be like a physiotherapist or massage clinic owner. I'll stick with physiotherapist right now because they are actually able to, and this is physical therapist if you're in the US, but they are able to offer their services through kind of telehealth services. So what might they be afraid of in regards to medical booking software, right? So they might be afraid of poor staff adoption, not asking the patients the right questions when they are setting up their online appointments. The booking's getting mixed up. It doesn't work with their current operations. What do they secretly desire? They want a seamless patient experience. They want less admin work. They want more family time. They don't want to be stuck doing this stuff in their business. They want to get in, help motivate and coach their team, see some patients, and then spend time with their family. What are their expectations when they work with an online medical booking software? They want a one-on-one onboarding experience. They want helpful customer support. They are not typically technical people. There's obviously there's going to be certain caveats to that, but for the most part, they went to school for physiotherapy and human anatomy and stuff. They didn't go to school for technology, right? What are they frustrated about? Onboarding fees, integration issues if it doesn't work with their the current scheduling software and certain HIPAA compliance and stuff. What keeps them up at night? The fear of falling behind, the fear of competitors gaining an advantage over them. Are they wasting their marketing dollars? Like those sorts of things. If they don't know which ads are leading to bookings because the person has to call the front desk and things are getting kind of muddled up there, then they might be worried about wasting money. And what type of person do they wish to become? They want to be the forward-thinking medical clinic or the forward-thinking clinic owner. They want to have a leading reputation. They want to attract top talent. They don't want to be seen as the dinosaur clinic where they've got subpar service, subpar reviews. They want to be leading the industry. So that's just some examples. The next step would be to align with your customer's worldview. I'm going to have some more water here, so just excuse me for a sec. So again, now, at this step, if you've got your personas identified and filled out, you would hold them up and you would really ask yourself these questions. What's their current worldview in relation to our market or industry? So a couple subsets here. What do they believe to be true? What do they believe to be false? What's the objective truth from our perspective? And how can we frame our offering in a new way that reinforces their worldview while positioning our product or service as the ideal solution? So I know that was a lot. So I'll get into an example here. Electric Bike Co. And I picked this for a specific reason because there's some mixed feelings about this. So holding up your persona, you would know who that ideal customer looks like, and they probably look like someone where their current worldview is. They think biking is fun. They think exercise is crucial for your health. Getting outdoors is great for mental health and happiness. Biking is a great low impact exercise, especially if they have like foot pain or knee pain. And most importantly, electric bikes are cool, right? So this person is probably kind of a gearhead. They like the latest technology. They probably got the latest, maybe not the latest iPhone, but let's say like one of the new ones. And so you wouldn't want to go after someone whose beliefs were that electric bikes were cheating. They're kind of a purist. They're not worth the money. They don't hold their value. The batteries don't last long, and it's just really not worth it. So you'd want to go after someone that is much more of a techie that holds that worldview. And so the objective truth from our point of view as the company is electric bikes are a great option for certain people. So if you want to be active, you want to explore further than you currently can, if you want to experience new technology and show off to your friends how cool it is, then this is the perfect solution for you. However, if you are someone that is part of maybe a really tight-knit bike club community where it's really about earning your turns, and people are on Strava and they're talking about how many miles they're biking or what trails they're on, then this is probably not going to be the right person to resonate with, because that will be in conflict with their current beliefs and their current identity. So you're not going to have a marketing campaign that tells people, hey, show up to your bike club with the coolest bike on the block, because there's going to be a lot of anxiety in that decision if that person has to do that. If you're going to create a campaign, I would think about it more along the lines of like the power to explore or something along those lines, right? So you're giving someone the ability to realize that aspirational identity of exploring further, of seeing more with their bike, versus inhibiting or reducing or discounting their current situation. So hopefully that made sense. So step 3, map out the transformation. And this is one of the most fun ones for me. I'm going to actually, I'll walk through it first before I do the example. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, so here, again, we are creating a gap between the present situation and their desired future. So the present situation, we want to ask, what do they have? Have should be bolded, but what do they have before using our product and service? And what will they have after using our product and service? And most people stop here because this is where they're focused on they're focused on themselves, right? They're focused on their product and service. Okay, well, before your work with us, you don't have this. Now you've got it. So do business with us. But that you definitely should not stop there in your marketing. So the next step down is, how is that making them feel? So what do they have before? How is that making them feel? What does their average day look like? And what is their current status as a result? And desired future, same thing. What will they have? How will that make them feel? What will their average day look like? And what will their new status be as a result? And when I talk about status, this is really closely correlated with identity, right? What is that aspirational identity that they are buying when they do business with you? And a bonus question here is, deep down, why do they and others like them really deserve it? And I'll go through the example, and that last bonus question should make more sense for you guys. So example, orthotic store. And I'm going to use my own example here because I spent so many years thinking about this for my old company, Kintech. And the example is my mom, who was a customer at Kintech. So my mom had plantar fasciitis, which is a foot condition which is just very painful, and it's very, very common. A lot of people get it. So what did she have before? Well, she had foot pain, weight gain, soreness, inactivity, couldn't go for walks. How did that make her feel? She was in pain, a loss of freedom, aging, worried, frustrated. Average day, like when you have plantar fasciitis, your very first step out of bed is painful. So every single day, you start with excruciating pain first thing in the morning, and also more time indoors spent sitting. And what was their status as a result? Aging, injured adult. It's not a very flattering status to have and situation. So what was the desired future that she was looking for in getting her health and her activity back? Well, she wanted less foot pain, soreness, higher levels of activity, weight loss, walks with my dad, so quality time with her significant other. She wanted to feel regain her health and freedom and her happiness. All of a sudden, the average day was energized and active. Like Like I said, they could go for walks, and my parents love to they go for walks every single day. So this is something that they really look forward to. And the status, active super mom or grandma. So my mom, looks after my niece and nephew quite a bit, they're 1 and 4. So now she's got the energy and to kind of chase around the kids and whatnot, right? So bonus. Why does she and others like her deserve it? Because everyone deserves the opportunity to live an active and healthy life. So here we're getting into the kind of like philosophical reason why someone really deserves to have our product. This lives in the world of kind of everyone deserves, everyone should, or ought to have this, or nobody deserves to live with foot pain. And that's really what makes that resonate. So these are multiple different angles, and we're going to get into this a little bit further of when you actually apply this. Actually, this is on the next step for agitating their present situation. So I'm not going to jump ahead of myself, but I will have some water, so bear with me. Okay. So agitating their present situation. So now that we've clearly defined all the before state and the after state on multiple different levels, we can get in and start to work here and start to agitate and try to get them to move to that desired future. So this is the playground for your ad copy and your content. So basically you hold up your answers from the previous step and looking at the before and after information that you put in there, and you use these different approaches or ad angles to try to agitate the customer, the target customer's present situation. And there's actually more of these in the PDF. I could only fit like 5 on the slide, but I think I put like 10 in there. But the list is really unlimited. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but these are some of the stronger ones. So a story of a customer who has successfully completed the transformation. A lot of times, we don't need someone to tell us that, are you frustrated because of XYZ? We just need to see someone else living that desired future. And that's enough of an agitation for us to want to change. All right. We see that person with that new iPhone. Oh, well, we got to have it too. And that's why thousands of people line up for them every year. And so another big one is your own story or founder story that sparked the initial need. So if you were the founder of a company, what was that initial itch that you were trying to scratch that led you to create this solution for people? So maybe you were frustrated with just the way that things were happening or the way that things were being handled in the industry, and you wanted to seek a better solution, right? So you can share that story, and people will often resonate very, very effectively with that. Another one is a villain or common problem that they're likely experiencing. And there's a couple that I used in the talk today, so I'll reference those in a sec. But and then before and after. So those different steps from the previous slide. What do they have before and after? How do they feel? Average day status. So you can talk about this, right? Like, are the first few steps when you wake up painful? Come see us and really make sure that you have the energy and ability to live an active life and be there for your family and be present. And then why others unlike them deserve it, because nobody deserves to live with foot pain, right? And so I'm going to use an example of a B2B IT consulting service. And Adam, this is probably going to be more closer aligned with your company. But I'm trying to think of like a bunch of different options here. There you go. I'm trying to think of a bunch of different options here and examples from different industries and stuff to show you guys that this can be applied like across the board. So a story of a customer who's successfully completed the transformation. Well, maybe you can talk about a case study here and get them on camera so that your customers know that it's not just made up, right? Of how your solution changed their business, and even like not just the initial experience of working with you, but how it changed things down the road. And then your own story, founder story that sparked the service that you are scratching. So let's say if it's cloud computing, things weren't done properly before. People were wasting money. People were wasting resources. That's why we created this solution, so that we could automate the stuff that you didn't need to have people working on every single day. a villain or common problem that they're likely experiencing. Maybe scope creep is really common. I used one at the beginning of this talk: marketing copycat syndrome, random acts of marketing. These are villains, and people resonate with those villains because everyone experiences it, right? So something like scope creep is like known across the industry. Before and after, what did they have, feel, average day status before? So once we identify what each of these are, we can test these in our advertising, and you can test multiple different angles and see which one resonates the best. Once you find out, maybe average day resonates more than how they might feel, and once you find out what works, then you can scale that and start to come up with different examples of that average day. So you can start to try to identify like the DNA in these ads that are helping to make them perform better than others, and then why they and others like them deserve it. So because nobody deserves to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars moving to the cloud, because when solutions are out there that can automate a large part of that process for you. And so it's just talking about, okay, that was the old way of doing things. This is the new way, and you as the expert are coming in to help them realize that new way of doing things. And this kind of applies across the board for consulting. But nobody deserves to do this anymore. We have all felt the pain for too long. Now it's time to make a change, right? So hopefully I did justice there. Okay, so gaining their commitment. Hold up your personas, and this, like I mentioned, this is especially important if you have a larger purchase or larger action that you need the person to take, or commitment, or there's a commitment. Like, let's say a fitness industry is perfect for this. Someone needs to change their diet, they need to change their behavior, they need to push themselves harder than they've ever pushed themselves. So you really need to help them stay on course. Or if they're buying like a really expensive item and they're just unsure, then we need to really gain their emotional commitment. So asking these questions: what's at stake if they don't take action? What's at stake if they do take action? This will really help identify what they're either missing out on or what they have to gain from choosing you. Why should they act right now? What are the personal roadblocks or doubts might they be experiencing? And can we create a quick win for them that will boost their confidence and keep them on track? And finally, can we break our offer into smaller chunks to on-ramp them to success? So if you haven't earned their trust yet, and you're selling something that's quite expensive, then maybe there's a way that you guys can reach out earlier in the customer journey and offer something that is more palatable for the customer, so that they can make sure that they like working with you. So I'll pull up an example here. One that I'm quite familiar with: online digital marketing course. I'm not sure if any of you have taken online digital marketing courses, but I've taken a lot. So what's at stake if they do take action? Well, if they do, they can learn digital marketing. They can get an in-demand job. They can work from home, which would be really valuable right now, obviously. They can help people grow their businesses and make lots of money. What's at stake if they don't? Well, they might fall behind. They could stay exactly where they are, and nobody likes to feel stuck. By the way, if you ask someone, oh, do you like to feel stuck in a rut, stuck right where you are? The collective answer will be no. People like to be moving forward towards that desired future. And what's also at stake if they don't take action? They're going to rely on the old channels that aren't working as well as they used to. So they're going to be putting the same effort with less results. So why should they act right now? Because things are changing, right? You can't. The world has shifted. The way that we interact with technology and brands has changed, and now it's time to get on board. You're already late. What personal roadblocks or doubts might they be experiencing? Maybe they think, I'm not technical enough. I don't have time. I tried something similar and it didn't work for me. It didn't work. I just couldn't get it. So you want to handle those objections and make sure that you are you're handling it either in your ad text or in your sales process, so that you make people feel confident that they actually do have what it takes to realize this for themselves. And is there a quick win that you can provide to boost their confidence? Maybe it's a digital marketing quiz to see if they're a good fit or something, right? It's like just to make sure. Okay, well, if I could pass that quiz, maybe I actually do know a thing or two about marketing. Um, and then how can we break our offer into smaller chunks to unwrap them? Here, maybe you can offer a free consultation. I would encourage you here to do something that's different than everyone else. If everyone is offering a free consultation, try to do something different. Try to do a free one-on-one class, or a free course, or like a low dollar offer, right? Like a $7 starter course, right? And avoid marketing copycat syndrome. There you go. Thanks for looping that back, Lauren. But yeah, avoid copying what everyone else is doing, right? Look at what they're doing. If you know the transformation that you're making, you can have more confidence to make those decisions, because you're not looking at the tactic, you're looking at the transformation and how you're just reaching out earlier in that journey, and then on-ramping them so that they can do business with you. And then finally, give them a reason to share. So here's the final questions to answer. Why should they tell friends, family, peers, or network? How will that change their status? So how will their status change or improve if they tell others? And remember, I've talked about status a few times here. Status is very, very important. And how can we make it easier or more likely for them to tell others? Often there's just too much friction involved. They get busy, and they forget to go Google you and look at your Google business profile and find the little review link and leave a review. But if you send them a special link that takes them right to that page where it opens up in their browser, and then it's just part of an email follow-up that every customer gets, boom, right? You've settled that. You just made it easier for them. And can we incentivize them in some way to tell others? This doesn't have to be monetarily. I'm going to talk about that in our example here. So example, restaurant. So yeah, restaurants are going through a really tough time right now. But let's just say, okay, why should they tell their friends, family, or peers about the restaurant visit? Well, to share how great the experience was, so others can experience it as well. Maybe they want to host their next event or birthday there, so they want to tell others and kind of get them on board. Like, hey, I went to this place, like it's really amazing, and this would be great for this event. How will that change their status? It shows others that their opinion is important, that they are a resource for valuable information. As kind of silly as that sounds, but this is important information. It also shows that they're the type of person that goes to trendy restaurants, right? So this is why you see a lot of people, updating their social media profiles with restaurants they go to, or the food dishes, especially if there's some flair added to these dishes, like dry ice and stuff, right? The restaurants create these experiences so that people can, take an Instagram video or a shot and then upload it, right? Because they're intentionally making the experience more shareable. And can we incentivize them in some way to tell others? Sorry, I skipped one. How can we make it easier or more likely? So maybe instead of just telling them to go online and leave you a Google review, you actually put a page on your website that's all about reviews, and you just can hand them a card. This is something that we did at Kintech back in the day. We hand the person a card and say, hey, if you had a great experience, I'd really, really appreciate if you could leave us a review. And the card would have 1, 2, 3. So 1, go to kintech.net/reviews. 2, click on the review platform that you'd like. And then 3, leave us a review. Boom, it spells it out every single step for them. And then it worked really, really well. How can we incentivize them in some way to tell others? So this doesn't have to be a monetary incentive, but they definitely do work. Actually, if it's Google reviews or like Facebook or Yelp specifically, you actually can't. It's against their policy to offer people money to leave reviews. Some businesses do it, or they create like a draw and stuff, and you can't do that stuff. So you really need to pay attention to that. But maybe you have a refer a friend program, right? So you refer a friend and you both save money. Loyalty cards are all part of this. Or you can even incentivize your staff, right? So you can have the staff at different locations that are all kind of competing to have the most Google reviews or Facebook reviews. And then the team that wins gets like, lunch bought for them. And then other example I have here is Google local guides. I'm sure you guys have seen this. If someone leaves a lot of different reviews, they get the status of being a local guide. And Google, they didn't just make this up out of nowhere. They saw that certain people, like a smaller subset, were providing reviews for like 80% of review content. So they decided to give that person a badge of honor to wear, so that they can, tell others, like, I'm a Google local guide, and they can get more authority when they are reviewing a restaurant or business. So if you're watching this and you're going, okay, great, Warren, I really like those examples, but this won't quite work for us. We're just a little different. I would argue that if you're B2B, you're B2C, or B2G. B2G is government. You're really in the human to human business. So regardless of if you're looking at your customer and you're going, okay, they are a giant corporate entity. That's our customer. They're a giant corporate entity. There's a person within that company that it has their own needs, their own wants, their own desires, their own fears, their own boss that they need to report to. And once you understand that, then you can speak to that person as a human, as an individual, and really create a message for them that will resonate with them. So you want to zoom in, you want to zoom out, and then zoom in to find out what that specific person is and what they want. So I would just say that, remember, I worked for an orthotics company. Orthotics are not the sexiest devices on the planet. But once we really understand that transformation that we wanted to make for our customers, we came up with a message of we keep you active. We keep you active on your feet for life, so you can do more of the things you love, right? And that could be done through orthotics, could be done through footwear, bracing, run clinics, etc. But it wasn't until we defined the message that we could really have the confidence to start to create these other offers to help people stay more active and healthy to do the things they love. If all we said was we're an orthotics company and that's what we do, we sell orthotics, then we'd really stifle our possibilities for growth there. So if you need help with this, definitely reach out to our team. We do this a lot. We are experts. This is I'm on the left there, Warren Thompson, and we've got my co-founder Charles Brodeur as well. And we use a process where we start by doing this strategy. We do strategy, optimization, and scale. It's a 3-part process, and the strategy all starts with setting up the proper messaging, the proper targeting, and keyword targeting. Then we put everything in place and test all of these assumptions that we're making, test the whole transformation to find out what are the best ad angles that work, and then we scale it past there once we find some sources of truth in our data. So we do this a lot. If you want help, definitely reach out to us, and I'd be happy to hop on the call with you. Here are the bonuses. So the target persona template that we use at Olometrics, I'm going to get Lauren to put these in the chat. You guys won't be able to click on the links, but you'll be able to copy them into your browser. But we're also going to follow up. The follow-up email will have these links as well. So the target persona template that we use at Olometrics, you'll be able to see all of the different aspects there. And by the way, specifically for that target persona template, it goes into a lot of detail on behavior, and specifically in the behavior section. And that is typically for targeting. In Facebook, you get to target specific audiences, and you want to be looking at audiences where your customers are, but that other people aren't. And it really will allow you to scale your campaigns beyond what is normally possible. And then the Transformational Message Framework, that's really what we're walking through today. The book has more information in it. It's got more kind of bullet points on every single thing that we touched about. I had to trim things down a bit for today, but that is a free resource for you. So please check it out there, the Transformational Message Framework. And I would say, I'll just recap those 6 points. So 1, build your target personas, align with your customer's worldview, map out the transformation, agitate their present situation to get them to move across that gap, and then gain their commitment so they don't fall off course. And finally, once they've realized that desired future, they've realized that aspirational identity, give them a reason to share with others. Right at the moment when they, their endorphins are high, their dopamine levels are high, and they, they want to tell the world that, like, I did this, I made it here, and here are the results. So customers want to share that. They want to tell other people that they were successful, especially if they put in a lot of work for this. I'll take my own medicine here. If you found this to be valuable, then please share it with one person. And it could be someone on your team. It's really hard to create change alone. So if you have someone on your team and you're thinking, hey, this would be really valuable for us, I encourage you, share this with them, help them see and buy into it with you, because it's really hard to create change alone in your organization unless you're the one at the top. But even if you're the one at the top, get your marketer involved, get other people in your team involved. And if you need help or you're interested, we do offer something called a digital opportunities analysis. And just email me at warren@olametrics.com. This is just a chance for us to really define what the digital marketing opportunity is for your business. And it's our entry point offer to on-ramp as before someone can become a client with us, just because we want to make sure that we can offer the most value to their business. So if you're interested, please reach out and we can set up a 30-minute call, and I'd be happy to talk. So that being said, if you guys, I'm just going to scroll down here. I don't see any questions. If you have any questions, you can just throw them in the chat. I'm going to stay on for another couple minutes, and I just want to thank everyone for joining me today. I know that there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty. We're probably spending about 80% of our time, maybe 90% of our time, existing in the quadrant one of in Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants of just urgency and importance, and just trying to get everything done that needs to be done to stay in business, to react to the constantly changing situation. But this work is in quadrant 2, and it is very important. But it's not urgent always, right? It's not always urgent to work on your message. So, but once you've got it well defined, it makes everything easier. Trust me on that. So, yeah, I'll leave it there. If you have any questions, any tips on, Andrew, do you have any tips to not have copycat syndrome based on what's going on right now in the market as fire sales and messaging? Yeah, so there's certain brands that are doing it well, certain brands that are doing it wrong. So if what you don't want to be seen as someone that is taking advantage of the current situation and trying to make a profit off of it, right? So if you're people are very sensitive right now, and so what you'd want to do is identify, okay, what is the transformation that we help our customers with, right? The example is the physio clinic, right? So the physio clinic, they typically would offer their services in person, right? And that's how people think about physiotherapy. But there's certain customers and certain patients, especially recurring ones, where they can offer just as good of a service, or pretty close to it, at an online interactive platform experience. So especially if it's a patient that's been coming back frequently, then then they can now offer this service and still be effective in coaching and motivating and keeping that person accountable. So as long as they know that, then they can offer this service, versus trying to got sort of pay it forward and keeping it top of mind. Yeah, so they're really they're looking at the transformation, and they're making a slight pivot to offer it in a way that still helps that person make the transformation. Sure, a lot of other clinics might be doing it, but instead of waiting to see what your competitors are doing, and then copying it, you're acting early. You're acting before that and saying, okay, we're just helping our customers make this transformation. Let's do it in a different way. And now everyone is forced to do this, but really the right decision would have been before it was urgent, to think about how this could be done, and in a time where the stress wasn't on, right? Because now all of these companies are, these online platforms, their customer service departments are just completely slammed, and people aren't getting the support or even the possibility of getting online with a lot of stuff. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question, Andrew. I'm just going to leave for a couple more minutes. Awesome. And so I just want to also tell everyone that we're going to send this out as a follow-up with email tomorrow. Oh yeah, sorry. Lauren just sent me a note. I just wanted to say goodbye to everyone, so you can see my face. I wanted to thank you all for being here, and just let you know that we are going to send out the recording of this tomorrow to everyone that attended. If it's valuable to you, share it with someone else on your team. And if you have any suggestions for how we can improve these in the future, let us know. We're happy to do that. we plan on putting out webinars like this in the future, at least once a quarter. So that's the plan going forward, and we hope you enjoyed it. Take care.